Georgia, Georgia, the whole day through. Just an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind.
Sing
on
it.
my mind.
Sing it, Ray Charles.
I ain't Ray Charles, but I did get got some eye surgery yesterday, and so I'm wearing sunglasses.
You might need to keep them on.
Yeah, we don't mind if you keep them on.
A whole new world. I can't see anything out of these glasses.
Your sunglasses.
Not a thing.
I'm
Is
glad
that
you
a
got it
pumpkin
done.
down there, or is that a football helmet?
You need to know that before Saturday, you know.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
I do.
but
We had a big win, didn't we?
Yes, we did. Beat Shelbyville last week. Coach Coy Sisk won his first football game as a head coach
That was great.
and beat Shelbyville.
you know, I know, and I didn't get to see the video, but I know you did. But I was pretty impressed here. The defense must have played.
Defense
extremely
played well.
You know, and the offense couldn't have been all that bad because they had 3 turnovers. One of them didn't count, I think.
We had a lot of yards. We just couldn't get it in the end zone.
Right.
But we've got a kid that can kick a 50-yard field goal.
Oh man,
That's amazing to me.
Yeah, you know, and what's amazing to me is the kid's like the 2nd-ranked kicker in the state of Tennessee. I
Wow.
heard. And he last year he couldn't even get on the field till they got way ahead not because he wasn't good enough, because his brother was starting and he was the best kicker
In the state, yeah,
You know,
yeah.
so
But
That's
this
neat.
kids are
this young
definitely
boy is about 6'3", maybe 6'4", and he's thin. And you know, a college team will put 20 pounds on him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He'll be able to kick till he's 40 years old.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I mean, he's that good. And the thing about it is he punts. And somebody said, well, they might not use him as a kicker because there's better kickers, more good kickers than there are good punters. And he punts the ball out of sight and
Wow.
50 yards.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And that they don't have a whole lot of. So hey, his deal's already done.
Is he a senior this year?
He's
Is he a senior?
I think he's just a junior.
I believe he's just a junior.
Good.
Yeah.
He got another year to play.
Yeah, because last year, you know, that number one, or you know, they
brother.
They went undefeated last year, and you know, a lot of times they'd have a big lead, and he'd play the whole second half. You know,
Right.
He'd kick the second half. But,
And you know, we kicked, every kickoff was not just in the end zone, but to the back line, except for one, we were offsides. And he made 3 field goals. I think the shortest one was 30 yards. He made a 30, a 35, and a 43.
right.
Great.
You know, I mean, that's a weapon. Because they had some good running backs, and you go, well, we don't want the running back to get a kick. Because, you know, that's when they go all the way.
Right.
It's a lot of danger there. There's no danger if he's kicking it out of the end
Kicking it out
zone.
of the end
That's a
zone,
huge
that's right.
weapon in,
Oh, it
in
is
itself,
wonderful.
You know, so.
And Coach Sis was great on the show Saturday. Did a good job. And he's a little bit different than John. Of course, everybody's different from somebody
And John
else.
was a hard act to follow.
Well, yeah, but Coach did a good job, and he'll get better. That's the first time he'd ever done anything like that.
Yeah, I mean,
And he was great. He did a good job.
I'm sure it was an adjustment for us as well, because we've never worked with anybody but John.
John,
Right.
that's it.
On that, so
Yeah.
that was because John Olive came on right at the start of as we were forming this company, putting.
Yeah.
Well, that's sort of why the company was formed.
That was one of the first shows we
For
did.
football.
Yeah, to have a football show because we had a new football company.
Right, and then we brought on Living shortly
Yeah.
thereafter. But you know, and
So this week is Manchester,
Oh my gosh.
Coffee County, and
That's
that's going
always
to be
exciting.
here. That's going to be a home game as well.
you know, the first show we did, I've told the story many times, as I have every other story I know, because we've done this so long. But the first show we did with John Olive back around 1990, I think, and the first game was against Franklin County, and Tullahoma won the game. And they had a tailback that was really good that year, but he also returned kicks. And the opening kickoff of the game, the kid ran the ball back, brought it back for a touchdown, ran like 90-something yards
Oh, my goodness.
for a touchdown. And it wasn't one of our people, but somebody that was filming the game forgot to hit record, and
Oh,
we didn't,
no.
and we didn't have that
Oh, no.
kick return on that first game there, and it was huge. But anyway, things got better after that.
So, how-
That's the only
Hey,
thing
it's all a learning experience for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
Has Manchester got a real good team this year?
They got beat by Franklin County the other night.
But Franklin County's pretty good this year, too.
Franklin County has a pretty good ball club, but the thing about it is they were tied up. Manchester was ahead with less than 2 minutes left, and Franklin County scored and tied it up. Then Manchester scored and tied it up, and then Franklin County scored again with 7 seconds
Oh,
left.
my goodness.
Yeah.
So the last 2.5 minutes of that ball game was
A lot of action.
Was a thriller.
Everything happened right there.
That's pretty exciting.
Yeah, but we have the coffee pot this week, and that is a great American rivalry game.
Yes, it is.
And that's something that the military started doing several years ago, going around the country and picking the rivalries, small town rivalries, and Tullahoma, Manchester. I guess will probably be the 5th or 6th year they've done that.
Yeah, and back in my day, they had to tear something down from, every time.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think
hang a bunch of dead
Hang-
chickens from
right.
the goal post
Yeah.
or something like that. You know.
Well, that's happened a few times in recent years.
Sure, it has.
You
It
know,
has.
so it's a huge rivalry. And
But what the Great American Rivalry does is they have during the week they have competitions to see who can do the most
Who can do the
chin-ups and
most,
who
yeah.
can do the most sit-ups and powder puffs and all this stuff going on, and then the military comes in and gives scholarships.
Very nice.
Oh, it is. It's very nice. Each team ends up with a young man that gets scholarship money.
I think the band is all set up to go this week
Yeah.
to play.
They
play last week.
opened up last week with part of their show, which is what
But
they
not all.
want.
is the game here or is it in Manchester?
It's here.
It's here.
Here, okay.
First 2 games this year are here.
Right.
We only go out of town 4 times.
Oh,
We
yeah.
have 6 home games this year.
Right.
But the games out of town are day trips. One of them you go to Clarksville and turn left for another hour.
Oh,
Right.
Yeah,
where is that?
Montgomery
Oh,
County or
Montgomery.
something like that. I mean, we have closest game we have is Pearl Cone,
Yeah.
and that's a big ball game.
Yeah, it was last year for sure. And they beat Pearl-Cone twice.
Twice, beat them twice.
Didn't they?
And the reason why is Pearl Cone is you'll appreciate this. Pearl Cone is a specialty school now, and it is about music production.
I read that somewhere.
And that's how they figure they could get, because some other school did that. Because when you do that, it's sort of like a magnet school.
You're right.
It is. Then that means anybody in Davidson County can go to that school to learn that trade. And that way, all the good football players, if you're a good football player out here somewhere, and you want to go play for a good football team, you go to Pearl Cone up there. So that's just like drafting, you know.
There's something about that concept when it comes to football that sounds a little unfair.
It
does,
sounds very
doesn't it?
unfair, but that's the way they deal with it up there in Davidson County.
Right.
So, but it's good. It's the time of year. Great things happening. The weather's gotten a little bit better.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah, last
boiling
week was
hot.
a perfect evening.
It was
for
a beautiful
football game.
evening.
Oh, we had a great night
Yeah.
the other night.
Fabulous crowd.
Sure did. Crowd was good. The crowd was a little bit smaller than we used to have, and then I thought, well, you know, there's a lot of people that are still
Getting COVID.
scared about COVID, and
Yeah.
plus TUA plays it live,
Yeah.
so that means a lot of people don't have to come to the ball game. They can stay at home and watch it.
Right.
Do they do that all the time?
They started that last year. Last year's the first year they did that.
And was that partly because of COVID?
I think so. But now but it's just on their channel. It doesn't cost you anything.
Oh, they just
It's
show
not
it?
like you have to pay to watch it. It's just on your television.
So in some instances, well, most
Oh, you have to
diehard,
be on light too.
most diehard people will go to the game. You know, people that love football and
Yeah.
they're
Yeah,
gonna,
but
they're
it's
gonna
good.
go. But
It's
it's
good
nice
for
for your
older
grandma
folks.
like me, and but I don't have.
There
much
was an
either.
older lady that Miss Peck, Dot Peck's mom, called me, and she's over in I think Morning Point. And she said, "Where's the football? It's not on."
Bless her heart.
She said, I've watched it for years." And I said, "Where?" And she said, "Well, I was on Light Tube at home." And I
Oh,
said,
yeah.
"Well, you can't watch it. I've watched it for years, honey, because Light Tube hadn't been in existence that long, and they've only started doing that last year." And she said, "Well, yeah, you're right. But I really did enjoy it. And is the band going to be on?" So a lot of our older citizens who can't get out and drive at night,
Right. That's a
but
very
they're still
wonderful thing
you know,
to do.
The Peck boys, her husband and his brother, back in the 40s or so, were great football players.
Yeah.
And speaking of that, guess what I did Sunday? Fran and I did Sunday, and Candy.
I do not know.
We went out to Marble Plains Baptist Church out at the State Park. Brother Jack Heiss, who preaches out there, and started that congregation with 9 people 32 years ago. Turned 90 years old.
That's a beautiful place. Our band played out there for a wedding.
And
Really nice.
he was, I mean, it was a celebration given for Brother Jack.
Good.
And what a great guy. He was a very good football player.
Yes, he was.
And his son Joe was there, who was a year behind me, who was one of the best football players that ever walked through that place.
Yeah.
He won't own up to it, but he was.
Yeah.
He was. And it was great. They had a wonderful celebration for Brother Jack.
Great.
Yeah, and
The
Jack.
food was good, and the kids did a tableau about Brother Jack and how he and his wife met. And one of them, there's a kid that tall with a little hat on, and then one of them came in with his football jersey on. He was number 30.
Sweet.
And this was Brother Jack made it to the football, and then there was one about that tall that came up and gave the opening to his first sermon. But of course, you know, you think
Sweet
about
thing to
that. That's starting a whole new life at 58 years old,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and touching the lives of
With so many people.
hundreds and hundreds and hundreds
Oh, yeah.
of people over the last part of your life. And I think he's preached almost 600 funerals.
Yeah.
Wow.
He's such a good funeral preacher that people want Brother Jack to do their service, whether he's their minister or not. He's a great guy.
He preaches them from the grave.
Brother Jack, we love you, buddy. I know you're watching because you watch everything we do. He's one of our greatest fans.
Absolutely.
Good.
He watches football probably at least twice, maybe all 3 shows.
That's
Yeah.
wonderful.
So we just want to wish you well, Brother Jack. It was a pleasure being with you out there at your home the other day, and everything that was done is well deserved. So I guess with that said, unless y'all have anything else, we need to go.
I have nothing.
You got nothing?
I got nothing.
Yeah,
Nothing, honey?
We have nothing.
We'll be back after these messages.
The Bookshelf in Tullahoma is the fundraising arm of the Coffee County Literacy Council. Since 1988, the Literacy Council's goal and purpose has been to support and promote adult basic education in Coffee County. We enable individuals to complete their high school equivalency exam, which helps them get better jobs or continue into higher education. The Bookshelf at 114 Southwest Atlantic Street in Tullahoma is where we sell used books, which are donated to us by the community. Come see us, bring your books to donate, and join us as you find every genre of books that you can imagine. Living.
Macarthur Manor Assisted Living is passionate about creating better experiences for our Manchester seniors. Our residents describe us in a few words.
Welcoming.
When you walk through the doors at Macarthur Manor, we'll treat you like family.
Caring.
Through high standards of personalized care, we help residents live life to its fullest.
Engaging.
With a wide range of life-enriching activities, there is something for everyone at Macarthur Manor. With our residents and staff now vaccinated, call us today to schedule your safe and personalized tour.
I had a knee replacement, so they've got me in life care, which I'm very, very thankful for. I couldn't garden, I couldn't do my flower beds, I can't chase my little dogs. I have been in several therapy sessions for knees and back, and that's the best therapist I believe I've ever been to. It's tremendous because I'm able to walk again, but if it wasn't for the care, I wouldn't be where I am.
Let us champion your recovery. Life Care Center of Tullahoma.
Is this the year you want to get fit? If so, check out just some of the things Tullahoma Parks and Rec has to offer. Kickboxing, aerobics, silver sneakers workouts, swim lessons, boot camp, water aerobics, basketball, Zumba, yoga, pickleball, lap swimming, treadmill, karate. Get fit, Tullahoma, and have some fun with Tullahoma Parks and Rec.
The individuals with dementia, those with Parkinson's, those that have maybe mobility issues, need caregivers. Well, those caregivers are 24 hours a day at home, and they never get a rest. And if they have to go to work, they're kind of out of luck. So that's why Trinity came into existence 25 years ago, to allow the caregivers to have a safe center where they could put their loved ones, know they would be well cared for, stimulated, fed good nutritious meals, have activities to their level, and then the caregiver can stop by and pick them up and go on home and have some continuity into their life.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
Hello, folks. We're back, and it's time for Dog of the Month, and we have Cheryl here with us from the Tullahoma Dog. It's not called Dog Pound anymore.
Animal control.
Animal
shelter.
But we all knew it as the Pound for many years. And this is Biscuit. Cheryl, tell us a little bit about Biscuit.
Biscuit is 3 to 4 months old. He's a little kind of Staffy Terrier mix. Now, he is a baby. He's going to get a lot bigger. You can tell he's got these really big paws. So he's going to get a lot bigger. But so for now, we've got him. He's had his first round of puppy shots. How we do puppies is we do them on a foster to adopt basis. So they'll come in, we go ahead and give them their vaccines and everything, but they're not old enough to be fixed yet. So someone can fill out an application, they can foster him, they can go ahead and take him to their home, but they don't legally own him yet until we make sure that he's neutered and has his rabies. So we're controlling the population and we're controlling the spread of rabies as well. Not that he has rabies, but just to make sure he's got that, and also it's Tennessee law that they have it. And then once he's old enough, 6 months old, he'll get neutered, he'll get that rabies vaccination, and then we do the official adoption, and he can go to his new, or he can continue to stay in his new home.
Now, what if the people who want to adopt him don't want him neutered?
Well, we have it as a requirement to adopt, just because we're trying to do population control, and it also helps with certain cancers and things like that. And then with male dogs, they're also prone to get hernias as well, and that will stop that. That requires a surgery to fix, so that will also help with that.
Okay. What do you think about that, Biscuit?
Oh, he's just.
Do you have a brother or a sister?
He does. He has a brother, Gravy, and he's a little bit bigger than Biscuit. He's back at the shelter right now, and he looks pretty much just like him, except for right through here on his nose, he's white.
So he had a little gravy spread on his nose.
Yep.
Has Biscuit ever had any biscuit?
Any biscuit?
Real biscuit.
I don't know. He has these little milk-bone dog biscuits.
Yeah, I know, but I mean, I wonder what he'd do if he had a real biscuit with some gravy on it.
He'd
I bet
probably
he'd
eat it
tear
straight up, yeah.
He'd love it, but that's spoiling, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
I know we have a new little animal at our house, and it's hard to not give them something off your plate.
Well, and you know, cats will come up and just take it.
Yeah, they do. They do. They're in charge. You're not in charge.
No.
There's no doubt about that. So, how's the population out there right now?
Right now, we have about 6 in foster homes, and then the kennel, we have one. When I left this morning, now that could have changed since I've been to the vet and come here, we had 1 kennel open. But we do have 6 in foster care, and we have 1 that was supposed to decide today if they wanted to adopt. So he'll either be coming back or he'll be adopted today.
Now,
so
how many kennels do you have?
We have 36 kennels. Right now, Biscuit and Gravy are in 1 kennel together. So technically, we have the 36
You're
dogs
full.
inside, yes, and 6 dogs in foster. So we are full, but we're not over. We were having to use the old shelter as well. So right now, we're full, but we're not overflowing.
All right, now,
so.
I might have asked this question before, but seeing as how I have a cat at my house, do you keep cats down there?
We're not allowed to keep cats. We don't have a place to keep them. We have to refer people to the Humane Society for cats. We do, if something has been injured, if it's been ran over or something, we do come and try to get vet care to the animal. But as far as us housing cats, we don't have a facility to.
And cats aren't required to be leashed. There's no leash law for cats, right?
No, I do suggest you keeping them up though, because we do, people don't really realize it, but we do have a lot of fox and coyotes and things that do run through Tullahoma and things that would prey on smaller dogs and cats and things like that. So it's a good idea to keep them in your home, but not everyone does.
You know, that little cat we adopted, I don't see how anything could catch it. That's the fastest thing I've ever seen on 4 legs in my life. You know, I mean, and of course she came from outside, and she's inside a lot, but we leave her outside too as well. I mean, she likes being outside.
Yeah.
She likes running and
coming and going as she pleases.
Yeah, well, and there's places she likes to be. She likes the front porch, and she likes we have deer out where we live, so she the deer come in the yard and get behind the boxwoods, and they're liable to be as close as I am to you in the morning. I can walk right by them, and they just don't even get up. They just look at me.
Yeah, we have those at the house.
So she likes it outside as well. But what can people do right now to help y'all over there other than adopt?
Well, right now we've had a lot of people coming in to bathe. We've got a dog right now that has to have medicated baths 2 or 3 times a week. We've had a lot of people volunteering to come bathe her. Just people that want to come walk dogs, socialize them, let them see. Fosters are always helpful. We had a lot of people donated from our Amazon wish list some grooming supplies this week, and so we can work on nail care and things like that. And this little guy, he's on the bath list, so he'll get one hopefully today, if not Thursday.
And so with 32 of them over there, how often do they get bathed?
Really just as often as we can if they need it. We have to put the ones that need a medicated bath first, obviously, and then anything that's got anything like in its ears or any kind of gunk on it, then we have to go with that. Right now we are short a staff member. We are hiring for an ACO position. So pretty much right now we're relying a lot on our volunteers to bathe the dogs.
Good. Well, that's great that people come over. I've seen a bunch of stuff on television and on movies, television shows where there are places like your place that people come and just spend time with a dog because it relaxes them. It's good for the human.
Yes.
And it's good for the dog, and they just go and sit and visit, and they might not be comfortable in an apartment or where they live having an animal, but they want the connection.
Yes, and we have several volunteers that do that as well, and then some that have we have a few volunteers that have PTSD, and they like to come and sit with the animals, and they just pet on them and love on them, and they'll play ball or play with stuffies and stuff like that just to kind of calm them, and then it lets the dogs get socialization as well, lets them see more people than just us.
That's great. Well, we thank you for coming, and you just present the facility so well, and y'all are doing a great job.
Thank you.
And you know, biscuits. Somebody needs a biscuit. Everybody needs a biscuit. Biscuit, you're a good-looking pup. Look at there. How can you not want that at your house? Get you one. Biscuit, and if you got a little extra room, get gravy too.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? Cheryl, thank you, honey,
Thank
for
you.
coming. And we'll see you next time
All right,
on Pet of the Month, Pet of the Week, whatever. Whenever she comes, we got a pet, and we always love it when they're here. So we'll be back after these messages.
Clayton's has been Tullahoma's shoe store for over 120 years, and Florence Hall continues that tradition today. We're the only shoe store in town that starts with measuring your foot to make sure you get the perfect fit in a quality shoe. That includes narrow through wide widths for men, women, and children. Clayton Shoes, the family shoe store you'll love.
We're gonna fit your style. We're gonna make you smile. Service and quality at Clayton Shoe Store. We're gonna fit your style.
My husband was diagnosed with a spinal infection. He lost his ability to swallow and the movement of his legs.
I couldn't turn over in bed, I couldn't walk, I couldn't eat.
They were just wonderful in the treatment and care they gave my husband.
I regained my mobility where I was able to go home.
It is miraculous.
Let us champion your recovery. Life Care Center of Tullahoma.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
Hello, everyone. I'm John Rickman.
And I'm Pat Welch, and here, John, we're with segment 33 of the conversation with John and Pat.
Well, this
33, we hope it'll set us free.
Another good day.
That's right.
I'm going to do a song. It's what you might call a parody. You can take one song and then change the words and make it something else. But this was kind of a funny song anyway, but us two and him took it upon ourselves to write it about us.
Parody. I'm kind of impressed, John.
Well, 26 years of my life I gave to pick guitar in Nashville. 26 years of my life I gave to be a star in Nashville. I'm a-going there where the money's free. Music City is a-calling me. Oh, what a big star I will be there in Music City. Oh, give me a home where the swimming pools roam and the money grows on trees and all the girls want to be squeezed. I'm going to make my debut at Opryland when I get to Nashville. Buy me a bus and my very own band when I get to Nashville. I'm going to set up shop on Music Row, giving lessons to old Hank Snow. You just watch this old country boy go when I get to Nashville. Oh, give me a home where the swimming pools roam and the money grows on trees and all the girls want to be squeezed. Well, I'm a-going there if I have to crawl all the way to Nashville. Date Dolly Parton and that ain't all when I get to Nashville. I'm going to change, when I get there, I'm going to change my name, write a hit song about an old freight train. They'll hang my picture in the Hall of Fame when I get to Nashville. Oh, Oh, give me a home where the swimming pools roam and the money grows on trees and all the girls want to be squeezed. That's some sort of song, isn't it?
That is some sort of song.
Now, if I happen to leave out a lyric somewhere along the way, they can call me and I'll sell someone a CD, and that'll take care of the lyric because it's on one of our CDs.
Was there just a slight stumble at some point in that song, John? I thought
we don't do that song real regularly.
But I thought you covered it up really well.
And in fact, I'm not the one that sings it. Phil Comstock in our group is the one that sings it. So I sort of took his place. I stole his thunder, you might say today.
Well, this may be the greatest segue stretch we've had. I know it'd be the best of the 33, but there was one line about "Give Me the Home," which we'll step in and say there was a segment where we did a sportscast report or a sports writers report from the 1932 Tullahoma Fayetteville game that we labeled as a real example of homerism, or being a homer. And I found one about 2 nights ago that may be worse. And I got it. I got the news article, or the newspaper article, from Ms. Nancy Washburn, our friend, and she recently attended 60th, I believe, and maybe 70th high school reunion, and this was taken from the 1939. I'm leery about taking the paper off the board that she had on display at the reunion, for fear it might damage the news article or the sports writers article. But it's a report of the 1939 Tullahoma-Manchester game, and Tullahoma beat them up pretty good. And
did they have the coffee pot then?
They had the coffee pot and had it established well before this 39 game, and the article, I believe, will refer to it a couple times. And we in no way want to act like we feel this about Manchester and all forms of life. We only want to beat Manchester in the coffee pot game. But
we're reporting facts.
Well, some of this may not be factual. Some of it may have been alleged. Again, from 1939, this would have been played sometime in November of 39. The THS Wildcats wrote finish to their 1939 grid season on Alumni Field in Manchester Friday night, where they rose to new heights in giving a sound thrashing to the football comics that are the Manchester Raiders, and keeping the coffee cup where it belongs in the Tullahoma High School trophy case. The Cats attained new heights not in beating a team vastly inferior in ability, football sense, and all other traits used to measure grid prowess, but in the self-control they exerted in not turning the contest into a free-for-all and mopping up the field with this alleged football team that didn't know the first principle of sportsmanship or how a loser should act in defeat. And John, don't laugh too much because it's going to get worse. The Wildcats scored once in each of the first 3 quarters and coasted to a pitifully easy victory. Lemming crashed through the line for touchdowns in the first and second quarters, and England did the honors in the third. Sanders added the extra point on a pass from Lemming. That Sanders had been my father-in-law, Bill Sanders. Yeah. The Red Raiders early discovered that they were no match for the smooth-performing, hard-tackling, clean blocking, which is the long way of saying C-coached Wildcats. And Coach C, spell his name S-E-A-Y, was the coach at the time, and he coached for about 10 or 12 years and had a really nice record. Their answer, in a feeble attempt to cover their inferiority, was a team which slugged, clipped, and roughed, whose profanity was clearly audible to spectators lining the field, and a coach who insisted on dictating to sadly deficient officials who must have received their training calling ping-pong games at Vassar.
This was in the newspaper.
This is in the newspaper. Between the two teams, there was no comparison. Where the Wildcats were perfectly drilled, featuring a pile-driving ground attack that saw England and Lemming take the leading roles in disintegrating the enemy line, the Raiders were poorly coached aggregation who had no offense to speak of, and whose only defense was some third-class baby beef that was about as well organized as sailors on shore leave. And hold on, John, because it's going to get worse. In spite of the poor opposition, the game was not without its highlights. England and Lemming should have eliminated Monday's lab experiment in biology for the perfect demonstrations they gave in dissecting an enemy line. The Wildcat forward wall set lofty standard easily during the season. Friday night played its usual brand of flawless football. On the Wildcats side of the field, where he had absolutely no business, a Manchester deputy or constable who delighted in attempts to show his authority strode into a small group of cheering Wildcat alumni and informed one of them, a former Wildcat gridiron great, now partaking of higher learning at a southern university, that he was making too much noise and to quit that cussing in quotation marks. The former student quietly informed the hayseed Flatfoot that he had the wrong party and that his only object was seeing the hometown win. The cop said he'd show him whether or not he had the right man and pulled out a blackjack to show this 19-year-old schoolboy that he would have to get somebody to sew up his head. Fortunately for the sideshow villain, the game ended before he could make any ridiculous attempt to use his billy, for if he had, the group of irate Tullahoma fans who had gathered on the spot would have made him eat the weapon as well as his words.
I wonder why this reporter didn't say what was on his mind.
I wonder why he didn't hold back. Let's see. The seamen being his, Coach C's men, were never in any danger as to the outcome of the game, but any Wildcat who went into a pileup with the enemy knew he was in grave danger of being subjected to any form of underhanded tricks capable of being dished out in close quarters, such as twisted arms, legs, necks, knees in the stomachs, and cleats to the face. And the one last part about my father-in-law said, at the end of it, talking about some seniors that played their last game, said, more good news for next year's opponents is that Billy Sanders, a lad with more nerve than Frank Buck, has finished his grid career at THS, and that alternate Captain Lemming has cracked his last line for the Wildcats, and next year must be content with a position in the stands. And that
Mr. Mild-mannered Bill Sanders.
Nerve of Frank Buck, had to look that up. He was a movie star that was hard to handle. Yeah.
Pat, that was delightful.
That was delightful and a great example of what a homer is.
We've enjoyed ourselves, and this is number
33, and it's not the end of the conversations if we're still allowed to come back. Thank you.
Hi there, this is Terry Stroop, Stroop's Accurate Refrigeration. Summer's about to wind down, fall's right around the corner. It's time to get signed up for your fall maintenance checks, and let's get out and support our local high school football this year. Let's go, Cats!
For many senior citizens, life looks like this, but it doesn't have to. When you make your home at Parkview Senior Living, life after retirement takes on a whole new meaning. Daily exercise options, fun outings, happy hour, game nights, movies and popcorn, arts and crafts, enjoying friends over chef-prepared meals. Parkview Senior Living, where you're always home, but you're never home alone.
Let me tell you about the toughest guy on earth. He does the work of 2 jobs, but only gets paid for one. He's tough enough to feed the man that gave him a lifetime of nourishment. He has the crazy strength to lift the man that raised him up without even flinching. That's right. No employee of the month bonus check here. This guy, no, this warrior, will always be by his father's side, even if his dad will hardly remember. Good luck finding a gym to train for that. If this guy isn't the toughest guy on the planet, then I don't know who is. Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
Is this the year you want to get fit? If so, check out just some of the things Tullahoma Parks and Rec has to offer. Kickboxing, aerobics, silver sneakers workouts, swim lessons, boot camp, water aerobics, basketball, Zumba, yoga, pickleball, lap swimming, treadmill, karate. Get fit, Tullahoma, and have some fun with Tullahoma Parks and Rec.
I was skeptical about getting the COVID-19 vaccine. There are a lot of opinions being shared. But I had the chance to talk with my doctor about my concerns. He told me the vaccines are backed by decades of research, and that the vaccines are proven safe and effective. Now I'm protected and ready to put this pandemic behind us. Join the millions of Tennesseans who have decided to give COVID-19 vaccines a shot. Visit covid19.tn.gov to find an appointment today.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
Welcome back. You're going to love it because you stayed around for this segment. I have with me Crystal McCullough, Robin Judici. Did I get it right?
You did. That's very good.
And you guys are in Guacamole Queens.
Last roundup of the Guacamole Queens.
And, tell us just a little bit about Guacamole Queens.
It is a bizarre farce of a Southern comedy, and it's all about this family called the Verdines, and I'm played the elderly matriarch of the family, and she's self-righteous, holier than thou, and completely disappointed in all the members of her family. They just
none of them can suit her, right?
They just constantly disappoint her and ruin the family name, and it's basically about a reunion of sorts. The high school is about to be torn down, and all the queens, all the Guacamole Queens of the high school
which
over the years.
Reunion is it? How many years? It doesn't say.
It doesn't give us a specific number.
But all the Guacamole Queens and their courts are coming back together, and they're going to elect one final, now and forever Guacamole Queen, and
a lot of ridiculous stuff happens. What are you doing, Robin? In the
I am the sheriff. Somebody has to be responsible for the community and try and keep law and order.
Are you sort of
Andy
Griffin?
I don't do. Yeah. I'm not probably as good as Andy.
More like Barney.
Yeah, exactly. It becomes a theme, obviously, that I can't shoot straight, so that's one problem. But it's just generally that she thinks I'm a do-nothing sheriff, and then I have...
Because she knows everything.
Yes, and there's a bridal shop that basically caters to overweight girls who are getting married.
It's called Wide Brides.
Yeah, Wide Brides.
Wide Bride.
For Texas South.
And so part of the theme of the reunion is that shop that the Verdines are running, and one of the girls that's a Verdine sister is constantly breaking the law, and I'm chasing her, and she's eluding me, and there's just a lot of nonsense.
It's just hysterical.
It's a good time, yeah.
We ought to tell people when it is. September
8th.
8th through
11th.
10, 11.
Mm-hmm.
Starts on Thursday night at 7 o'clock, I believe.
Yes.
Right.
But don't trust me on that, call 455-5321 or southjackson.org. That you can
Visit
buy
us on our
online.
website at southjackson.org.
Right. And you can get tickets a little less money. I never say cheaper because nothing's cheaper. But it is less money if you buy online and ahead of time. And I can't tell you what that price is unless you know.
It's usually $1 cheaper, sometimes $2, I think.
Yeah.
Sorry, we're not real up on that either.
And if you're a member, you get a little bit less on your tickets. But I think there's one price ticket. It's not a children's ticket, to my knowledge.
No.
All right, and I hope you'll call and get your reservations because we need a good laugh. And this show is full of laughs.
Oh, you will be side-splitting.
How many people are in it? How many
It's
characters?
a small cast, probably a dozen. I mean, the thing about it is when you're doing an ensemble, which is what this is, it's got some of that feel of a Saturday Night Live kind of because one of the main characters is a guy who was booed off stage at the high school talent show, but he has a hand puppet that is his best friend for his entire life, and he and the hand puppet show back up at the reunion.
Oh, good.
And he's wanting to go out with one of the Guacamole Queens, and she hasn't had any dates, and she's desperate for a guy, and so it just all
Does
goes
he ever
down.
say talk to the hand?
Oh yeah, no, the hand basically
The hand
runs
takes
the
over
board.
at one time
Yeah,
and grabs him. There are 13 people in the cast.
Good.
And the way it's written, there are 3 roles that can be double cast, but Heather Kleinfeld, our director, being community theater, wanted to share the wealth around. So there are some roles that are very, very tiny, but it allowed more people to be involved. And so we're having a...
And Heather does a great job.
Heather is a good director.
She's very
She is a very good
I've known her
director.
for a long time. And she is a good actress.
And if Friends of the South Jackson Goes Country Show, there are 4 country show alum in the in Guacamole Queens. There's Deb Rackley, who plays Sadie Gruesome, and Melissa Sharan, and Tiffany
plays
Graham, and myself.
Ernestine.
We just did come off the country show, and now we're in Guacamole Queens.
My favorite character is Uncle Aubrey, who is
Keith Cornelius.
Yeah, and he's 90 years old, and he's still sexually active,
I
and
love
that's the
that.
theme of everything he does.
Even though he wheels his oxygen tank around with him everywhere he goes.
Yeah, and you know, he eats what he wants, does what he wants, and
He has
He
his
has-
insurer with a bourbon chaser.
yes, and he wants to make sure that if he goes on a first date with somebody, that they go all the way, because there may not be a second date.
Carpe diem,
Yeah,
baby.
you know,
That's
it's
his motto.
and so he is one of the great characters of the play.
And you should see him chasing Melissa and Deb. They're hilarious.
Yeah, they are two sisters who are competing for
I'm
him,
sure that's
but not
fun.
wanting to compete for
Yeah.
him. One of them calls him vile. The other says, "You're not going to touch me." One of them spraying him with disinfectant. There's this whole theme of, but at the end of the day, they both do want him. So it's,
That was a streak of genius getting those two involved.
Yeah.
Because they have their own way.
Comedy shtick
Yes.
that's well formed from years of being
know.
together. They're
Robin,
awesome.
what got you interested in theater?
You know, it's funny. I had done it in high school and college. Always had more of a musical background, but and then radio broadcasting and that sort of thing. But after I moved here, Greg and I at South Jackson developed a relationship, and there was a slot open in Assassins for one of the presidents. They called me and asked
That was a
me.
fabulous play, by the way.
And I took a minor role there, and then the 9 to 5 play, I was Franklin Hart, and so wasn't really much of a stretch.
So you do things besides run the Grand Lux,
Yes,
right?
ma'am. So you know, it was. It's been fun. It's, you know, as you get older, I like to try new things, and so.
Well, I love the fact that somebody will move into our community and then become a part of the community.
And it's a great community.
It really is.
I really love Tullahoma. I grew up south of St. Louis. It very much reminds me of that. High school football is a big
Mhm.
thing, and community is a very big thing. And so it's been easy to assimilate that,
Right.
you know, moving into the
And Crystal, you've been here all your life, have you? No.
Pretty much. I grew up in Moore County next to Motlow College.
Yeah.
But I had to go to Moore County High School, but I consider Tullahoma my hometown and always hung out
Well,
here.
we're glad you did. We're really glad you did.
And she's still hanging out here.
I know. Once you get here, you kind of hang your
I
hat
only
and
moved
stay.
away
And everybody else is coming into town too, from everywhere.
Yeah, it was just a fluke that I came here because I was in military with my husband, and I tried to get a job in Manchester, and they wanted a personal interview, and I was in London, and I couldn't do that. Anyway, that's how I ended up in Tullahoma.
So we're glad.
And so I'm glad I did. They've regretted it again.
No.
Well, that's not what I've heard.
We don't have much more time, but I want to reiterate the fact that this starts on the 8th.
Thursday the 8th.
Thursday,
Yes,
Thursday
ma'am.
the 8th, 7
And runs
o'clock.
through the 11th.
Runs through the 11th. And
It's
on
only one
Sunday-
weekend.
Sunday it's a 2:30.
Yes, ma'am.
Time, which is great. A lot of people that don't like to come out at night. I love the idea of this thing, and we're running out of time, so get your ticket, read that on the screen, and write it down. Get your tickets today. We'll
Listen
all be
to her.
laughing.
She's in charge. Go get your tickets.
Robin, Crystal, I'm so glad you came.
Thank you.
We
Thank
hope
you
you'll
for
come
having us.
back. We'll do,
Yes, ma'am.
and I'll be there to see you and cheer you
Awesome.
on. We'll be back with who knows what.
Smoking tobacco accounts for 3 of every 10 fire deaths in the United States.
Tullahoma Fire Department need you en route to a structure fire, 202 Main Street. Heavy smoke showing. Neighbors advise child trapped inside.
Lighters, matches, and associated smoking paraphernalia are the leading cause of preschooler fire deaths. We as firefighters know that most structure fires can be prevented.
I've got one! Command, this is primary search. We have a victim. Need EMS to meet us at the front door.
Please help us to give you a fighting chance. This can be prevented. Contact the Tullahoma Fire Department for a free home safety inspection.
What's a Tennessee vacation? It starts off like any road trip, and then, boom, adventure and thrills everywhere you look, which happens to be some of the most beautiful scenery in the country. Music here, history there, and all kinds of green in between. Come relax and unwind, or bring the crowd for some stargazing, or stargazing. Whatever you do, come hungry and expect an awesome soundtrack. It's all right here in Tennessee. We're playing your song. For a free vacation guide, visit tnvacation.com.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
Last weekend, we finished the South Jackson Goes Country show, and songwriters part of the show has become a favorite. And we have today to show a video at Dan Zukowski's A Right Time that he wrote, and Miss Macy Tavor, who wrote Mama.
This is about a young man from Tullahoma, very talented young man, and they're all telling him in his town that you got to get up there to Nashville. And the one thing that's keeping him from going to Nashville is the love of his life. So he's got to make a decision, and that's what this song's all about. It's called A Right Time. Time for everything.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, welcome Macy Taylor.
All right. Well, this song I'm going to do for you guys tonight is actually a song I wrote of Connor Austell. He's going to be singing for you guys here in a little bit. But when I went into this ride with him, we were throwing ideas back and forth, and he was like, I thought we could write a song about your mom. And I was like, okay, I like that idea. And so basically, here's a song about my mom, and I hope you guys can relate. And we call this song Mama. I hope you guys like it.
Hi there, this is Terry Stroop, Stroop's Accurate Refrigeration. Summer's about to wind down, fall's right around the corner. It's time to get signed up for your fall maintenance checks, and let's get out and support our local high school football this year. Let's go, Cats!
There's a lot of talk about the risks associated with the COVID-19 vaccine, but the reality is, it's safer than going for a run. Give it a shot. Find a free appointment today at covid19.tn.gov.
If you want to be a parent, it doesn't matter how you play, what you wear, how you dance, or even what direction life takes you. You just need to be there. You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care don't need perfection. They just need you.
Parkview Senior Living, active, independent senior living at its finest.
How long has it been since you raced a cheetah? Are your tornado creating skills getting rusty? Tired of being the only one in your neighborhood who hasn't built a dinosaur? Sounds like it's time to visit the Hands-On Science Center. The Hands-On Science Center is an indoor science playground. In this museum, please touch is the rule. Join us for weekly science demonstrations on space, lasers, lizards, rocks, and a whole lot more. No two visits are ever the same, so visit often to see our ever-changing exhibits and demonstrations. The Hands-On Science Center, 101 Mitchell Boulevard in Tullahoma.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back, and I'm glad to have my buddy Jackie Duncan with me again today. And Jackie, what are we talking about today, fella?
A little bit of everything, I guess. I've got one thing I really want to expound on a little bit is to encourage people to save your old photos. And, you know, I know a lot of people we've all got some photos, and I go through them sometimes and find old things in there, pictures that I haven't seen in years. And I know other people collect them. And we've got a couple of people here, did have a couple of people here in town that did a lot of collection. And I'm just hoping that somebody has saved all the old pictures and memorabilia and things that is so much history that's being lost every day. And I just encourage people. I want to encourage everybody to hang on to what you got. Let's. I know we're getting older. We're not going to be here a lot longer, maybe, and whatever's going on in life. But if we can find some common place to archive these, or I did at one time. When I was real active, I guess, in the city, on the board, city board and county commission. I was really encouraged at the time because I knew some friends that had a lot of old pictures and had done a lot of work in ancestry type work, or knew a lot of history for the city.
Right.
And I encouraged them at the time, and still encourage people to let's get this stuff to a common place and to somebody that's really interested. I one time proposed, and still do, naming a wing in the library for Tommy Allen and Peggy Northcutt. You know, and those were two of our greatest historians, I remember, because Tommy Allen took one of his classes. I think he was, a 7th grade teacher and coach. And he took his class out to one of the old slave cemeteries, and they documented the old information on the tombstones and a lot of them that are not there anymore. And they did this at a great time in history. And I think every day is a great day in history that we can
sure it is.
catch something and before it slips away.
Right.
And so anyway, they archived all this, what they could, and printed. I know we got several books where they actually did, the classes did themselves. And I've got about 2 books, I think, where they had printed. And I'm encouraged. I know his son, I know he's got a son that's still living that I've met on occasions years ago. Haven't seen him in a long time. I would like to get in touch with him again, though, and just to see what he's got, if he's still got any that information. But that has been one of the greatest places for me to go and get information. I've had people call me from out of town, out of state, you know, and want to know about Tullahoma history or something about their family that used to live here and all this. And Tommy did a fantastic job. He and his class, and I know members of his class are still around and hopefully in abundance. And they, I just want to encourage them, you know, to hang on to stuff, pictures especially. I know we can all hang on to too much junk. And we can all get caught up in that.
Yeah, we can all get caught up in junk.
We can get caught up in junk. But pictures are not junk, and pictures. We have pictures from my grandmother and from her family before her even. Pictures seem like pictures. My dad was an avid photographer, and I think he was one of his cohorts, or I guess in that industry at the time, that was one of his staples. One of the best. I guess one of the best people he knew at that time was your father-in-law,
yeah,
Mr. Castro, because Daddy always took pictures, and he was just an avid photographer, loved to document stuff. And I thank God for him every day that he documented us from little bitty children all the way up. And I've got pictures of me I got a picture of me when I was a baby. My grandmother was holding me in her arms in front of Mount Zion Church over there. And that's still standing, thank God for that. But and we've got old pictures that, you know, from different sources that just, they're precious. And we go back and we can look at them now, and we're at the point in life where if some of these old pictures, we don't go back and identify the people that own them, the ones that did know them, then we lose that information, because once we're gone, nobody that ever knew those people, you know, will be around to identify them. So we need to look at your pictures, identify them, and I just encourage that every day to people to hang on to what you got, and let's get some kind of documentation.
The biggest problem we have is your pictures are important to you. Mm-hmm. My pictures are important to me. Mm-hmm. My pictures aren't necessarily important to you.
They could be.
No, but you, because you're a historian.
Well,
I'm talking about the general public.
I agree. The
general public. Our problem in Tullahoma is we don't have a central location for these things to be taken.
True.
The museum at South Jackson is full. I mean, it's just full. There's no room for any more stuff down there. We don't have the Historical Society. You know, they don't have a storage facility. We don't have, this is Patricia Lee is working with the federal government right now, because Tullahoma is the only town with a military base named after a general that does not have a museum and library. And she is working, and they usually pay for that.
Okay.
And so she's working out where the monuments are on the way out there to the base, to have some type of a facility built out there. Wouldn't it be great if there was a facility there and there was money there for a curator?
Oh, yeah.
And people to have, you go in and there'd be, this month there'd be a television over in this room talking about the Duncan family or the Couch family or the Jones family or whoever, or World War I or Camp P, Camp Forest, where you could go in and the appropriate pictures would be showing.
Oh, I'd love that. That'd be good.
Narrated.
That'd be good.
See, that's how that stuff becomes important.
I agree.
Because you can save it and put it in a box, And it ain't any good to anybody.
You're right. You're right.
Until there's a way that you can get it in front of the public. When Fran was the facilitator at South Jackson Civic Center, she said, you have no idea how many people come into this town and come to South Jackson to go to that museum down there. And she said, I take people down there every week. Somebody is coming through, either a person who was a soldier out there, and you'd be surprised how many people who come through whose parents were prisoners of war out there.
Yeah.
So we have great history, but we don't have a facility to properly present it to the public. And that takes dollars and cents. Somebody's got to pay for it.
Well.
And, you know, and time for somebody who's in there, knows what they're doing, educated, and if we can get the federal government to drop some money on us, we might be able to pull that off.
Preserving history is worth it. It's worth whatever we have to pay right now. And, you know, and technology is just surrounds us and engulfs us. There are so many ways to do everything now, especially to document pictures and
sure,
everything that we want to document for the future. Then, you know, it needs to be done now. Like I said, why somebody is here to identify a lot of that. Now, if this thing you're talking about, the museum, I pray in Patricia, go Patricia. And I've been encouraging something like this for a long time. And I maybe I'm just getting activated, should I say?
Yeah.
And but I'm glad Patricia is, and there are people that.
Well, track her down and help her.
I will.
Is there anything I can do?
I will. And I'm encouraged because, you know, that's my birthplace, Camp Forest.
Right.
I was born there at the base hospital, and when they found out, they had that little parade out there to do that monument when they were dedicating that monument. And they had that parade. Then they found out that I was born at the base at Camp Forest, and I got invited to participate in the parade. So thank goodness. And my little nephew at the time, Tommy, he's a grown man several times over now, but I had my Corvette. I was driving in my Corvette, and he had the T-tops off, and Tommy was just a little kid riding with me, and had signs on each side says Camp Forest born, AEDC bred, and I was born there at Camp Forest, and then I wound up working at AEDC once it changed names rather, and became Arnold Air Force Base. I worked there for almost 34 years and retired there.
Right.
So my whole life has been in this little circle,
That's right.
from Polk Street to Camp Forest to Polk Street to school at Davidson Academy out there, and then, you know, and church, Mount Zion Baptist Church over on the next street over. So I've been in that little circle just, 10 minutes.
There ain't nothing wrong with that.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. And I can go back and retrace my history and just enjoy my footsteps as a child. And walking to school under the viaduct over there, going across the railroad tracks, and just everybody's house that was there.
Do you ever sneak a kiss under that viaduct?
No, I didn't.
Now, Jackie.
Nobody.
You didn't walk a little girl home and get behind one of those columns and get a little kiss?
No, I don't ever recall that.
You ain't.
And these were in my very my tender years, when we're talking. I think first time my mother walked up one day when we'd always walk home from school together, my brother Paul and my sister Betty and me, and this was before my sister Linda and Rita were born. And we would walk home from school together usually, and we'd walk from Polk Street over to Washington Street, pick up some of the other kids along the way, and then go under the viaduct usually, and then go over to Davidson Academy on South Jackson, which is now the C.D. Stamps Community Center. Well, anyway, we'd make that trip. And one day I came back from school, and I was walking by myself, and my mother stepped out on the porch and Jack, said, what? So where's everybody? I said, what's going on here? And then said, and she said, well, you by yourself? I said, weren't you scared? I said, no, Mama. I said, I did like you always told me, put my trust in thee, and just came on home. So anyway, that was my first time walking home. I was about 7 years old, I think, back then, and so and you could walk and be reasonably safe at that time.
You could.
But there was stuff going on, like always, but it hadn't escalated to the level that it is now. So thank the Lord. Thank God.
My friend Jackie Duncan, we're down to 0.
Thank you, buddy.
Thanks for coming, buddy.
Thank you.
We'll see you next time.
All right.
We'll be back after these messages.
The Bookshelf in Tullahoma is the fundraising arm of the Coffee County Literacy Council. Since 1988, the Literacy Council's goal and purpose has been to support and promote adult basic education in Coffee County. We enable individuals to complete their high school equivalency exam, which helps them get better jobs or continue into higher education. The Bookshelf at 114 Southwest Atlantic Street in Tullahoma is where we sell used books which are donated to us by the community. Come see us, bring your books to donate, and join us as you find every genre of books that you can imagine.
Macarthur Manor Assisted Living is passionate about creating better experiences for our Manchester seniors. Our residents describe us in a few words.
Welcoming.
When you walk through the doors at Macarthur Manor, we'll treat you like family. Caring. Through high standards of personalized care, we help residents live life to its fullest. Engaging. With a wide range of life-enriching activities, there is something for everyone at Macarthur Manor. With our residents and staff now vaccinated, call us today to schedule your safe and personalized tour.
I had a knee replacement, so they've got me in life care, which I'm very, very thankful for. I couldn't garden, I couldn't do my flower beds, I can't chase my little dogs. I have been in several therapy sessions for knees and back, and that's the best therapist I believe I've ever been to. It's tremendous because I'm able to walk again, but if it wasn't for the care, I wouldn't be where I am.
Let us champion your recovery. Life Care Center of Tullahoma.
Is this the year you want to get fit? If so, check out just some of the things Tullahoma Parks and Rec has to offer. Kickboxing, aerobics, silver sneakers workouts, swim lessons, boot camp, water aerobics, basketball, Zumba, yoga, pickleball, lap swimming, treadmill, karate. Get fit, Tullahoma, and have some fun with Tullahoma Parks and Rec.
The individuals with dementia, those with Parkinson's, those that have maybe mobility issues, need caregivers. Well, those caregivers are 24 hours a day at home, and they never get a rest. And if they have to go to work, they're kind of out of luck. So that's why Trinity came into existence 25 years ago, to allow the caregivers to have a safe center where they could put their loved ones, know they would be well cared for, stimulated, fed good nutritious meals, have activities to their level, and then the caregiver can stop by and pick them up and go on home and have some continuity into their life.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
Okay.
We've done it again, haven't we?
Yes, we have. We got about 3 minutes left to kill here. We want to remind everybody that it's Coffee County and Tullahoma High School. It's the coffee pot game this Friday night, and it'll be a big event.
They'll be marching in the streets.
It's the military event, one of the great American rivalry, high school rivalry events, and just it's supposed to be a good night.
Good.
Just a perfect example of Friday Night Lights and community and family and sport, and it's just
and music. Don't forget the band.
Yeah,
the band will be playing.
And good food.
Lots of good food.
You always get a good burger at a football game. Hot dogs.
And don't they taste better at a football game than they do anywhere else?
Doesn't make a difference whether they're hot or cold.
I know.
Cold dogs, hot beer. That's a baseball game.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I had put that in a line. The boys of summer make double plays, throw strikes, and hit home runs. Cold dogs, hot beer, what could be more fun? You know, yeah. Because you never get a hot dog at a baseball game, and you never get a cold beer.
It's
always a cold dog and a hot beer.
If it gets to you,
it's hot by the time.
It might have been hot when it started over here, but by the time you get it, it's another story.
So
that's exciting time. You know, I'm so glad that the kids are back in sort of regular school, doing regular things, and I've worried about that pandemic era, and I hope it doesn't spring up again.
You know, and I think the kids probably get pretty ready to go back to school.
Sure, they do.
You know, that's where all their buddies are, and things are happening, and they're learning stuff, and they you know, teachers. A good teacher can change a kid's life.
And it's different
and
in
a bad
person.
Teacher can too.
Of course, and it's different in person than it is Zooming. It's just absolutely different, and I'm glad we're back to a little normalcy.
Little normal stuff, and it's good, and we've got Guacamole
Queens. That's supposed to be hysterical.
And Robin's in that. You said Robin was over here.
He's done 3 plays now, and he's been a real asset to our community.
Yes, he has.
He's moved right in and become a part of it.
And he owns the Grand Lux.
Yes.
Hotel.
Does a great job.
Doing a great job down there, and so Peggy, I guess what we'll do right now is leave it with these wonderful folks. Oh, I want to remind you. I'm sorry I forgot that right there. Alzheimer's, Tennessee, and we're having a picking and putting. That's a hootenanny over at Don Jones' property. That's behind Trinity Lutheran Church on Wilson Avenue. That's September the 11th from 2 until 6. It's all, Don's going to be there, some friends from Nashville. Becky Buller's going to be there.
That sounds great.
And bring your instrument. Bring a guitar, fiddle. It's all unplugged. Well, it's all acoustic. There will be amplification,
but
there's no electric instruments.
Well, I want to mention that we have a group coming in called the Invaders. If you remember the British invasion coming to the United States, all these British things, well, it'll be a little bit of all that. And it's one of the...
So you get the Beatles and the Stones all at one time?
All at one time, and some others. And it's the first of the performing arts series, the thing that I do. So it's going to be fun.
Okay.
But it's September. It's a little later in September.
So we're out of time. Thanks
we gotta
for
go.
watching, and we'll see you next time.